You start noticing it in small ways. You speak, and the conversation keeps moving like you never spoke. You send a message, and hours pass, or doesn't come at all. You sit with people, but it feels like you're beside them, not with them. At first, you brush it off. Everyone's busy, everyone's distracted. But then, it keeps happening. Different places, different people, same feeling. A quiet question forms. Why does this keep happening to me? Most people assume being ignored means others are rude or selfish. Sometimes that's true, but most of the time it isn't. Most ignoring comes from something subtle, how people unconsciously assess your presence and value. People notice the effort, the attention, the energy you give, but they also judge it against what they feel you deserve. If you give more than they think you've earned, their mind quietly pushes back. They might not mean to, but their behavior changes. The brain does this automatically. It's a built-in balancing system. Too much attention, too much effort, too much emotional investment from someone. If the other person's subconscious says you haven't earned it, they respond with distance, underappreciation, or even ignoring. It's not personal, it's instinct. Think about the people you ignore. You're not trying to hurt them. You're not making a conscious choice. They just don't stay in your awareness. You forget to reply. You forget the conversation even happened. Your attention moved on. That's how the human mind works. It constantly filters what deserves focus and what fades into the background. It doesn't do this fairly. It does it based on feeling. Something either pulls attention or it doesn't. And if people often ignore you, it usually means your presence doesn't produce a strong emotional signal. Neutral presence fades. Neutral doesn't linger. It doesn't matter if you're intelligent, kind, or thoughtful. If your nervous system or your behavior doesn't communicate weight, you disappear quietly. This usually comes from patterns learned early in life. Maybe you spoke up and were ignored. Maybe attention brought criticism. Maybe being quiet felt safer, so you adapted. You became careful. You learned to exist without disturbing the room. You wait. You soften your opinions. You avoid conflict. You became polite, reasonable, easy to be around, and without realizing it, you taught people how to treat you. People absorb subtle cues, your timing, tone, eye contact. They sense uncertainty. They feel hesitation, and the brain avoids uncertainty. If your presence feels unsure, they don't lean in, they drift. You're skipped, not rejected, not disliked, just invisible. It's also why people who constantly give more than they get often feel unseen. You show care, attention, emotional investment. You help, you share knowledge, you support. Psychologically, the human mind notices it, but if your behavior signals that you're offering more than the other person perceives you deserve, it triggers resistance. They may unconsciously pull back, dismiss your effort, or ignore you. This is real, proven. The human brain has mechanisms to maintain perceived balance in social exchanges. Reciprocity matters, even subconsciously. It's why giving without alignment often feels like hitting a wall. Resentment can grow quietly in that space. You notice who gets attention effortlessly. You feel unseen. You pull back just a little. Tone changes. Energy shifts. People sense it. They step back more. And that confirms the belief that no one cares. But really, it's a loop. You fade. You feel invisible. You withdraw. People sense it. They disengage. Predictable patterns feel safer than uncertainty, even painful ones. Attention isn't earned by trying harder. It's earned by clarity of presence. Not loud confidence, not charisma, not performance, but by quiet certainty, emotional weight, and self-permission. When you stop shrinking, when you stop asking for approval internally, when you allow yourself to exist fully without adjusting constantly, people notice. Not always immediately, but their minds begin registering relevance. They mirror your internal certainty. Giving value is tricky. Humans respect what has perceived cost or effort. If someone hands value freely without any emotional weight or personal boundaries, it can create imbalance. The subconscious brain interprets it as less urgent, less earned, or less significant. That's why people who give excessively often feel invisible despite their generosity. Reciprocity isn't optional. It's wired into human social behavior. That's why setting boundaries doesn't make you cold. It signals that your presence carries weight, that your attention has value, and that others must acknowledge it to maintain psychological balance. It doesn't mean stop caring, it means care strategically. Let your presence, your time, your energy be noticed by your own confidence first. Internal acknowledgement shifts how others perceive you. When you stop disappearing emotionally, stop editing yourself mid-sentence, stop treating your thoughts like interruptions, the world can finally feel your presence. Attention grows naturally from alignment, from weight, from not asking permission to exist. Being ignored is information, not punishment. It tells you where you learned to fade, where you started believing being fully present was too risky, where giving too much without reciprocation became habit. Once you recognize this, the question changes. You stop asking why people ignore you. You start noticing when you ignore yourself. Presence, value, attention, they start internally first. Once you master that, external visibility follows.